thank you so much for, agreeing to hop on this because I know you've got a very busy schedule. I'm sorry, I'm going to turn off the volume over here. There we go. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
We'll give some hearts for ourselves and hearts for you. So
Okay.
that's great. Great. So how is the work going right now? Because you've told me that you've also started with with Alberta Health Services. That is going on as well right now.
Yeah. So I do work with them, but in public health. So I see the banner coming on there. Oh, there we go.
Sorry. Yeah, uh, we had the different banner over here. Where is yours? Let's just go for it again.
hmm
That's right. So you were telling me that work is starting up really full stream now.
Yeah, but well, it's been busy for the last month for sure, and lots of just collaborations and working with different departments and checking in on isolation requirements or business, that is not sure if they should be open or closed. So those kinds of things, and
Ah,
a lot more. But
yes.
yeah,
Wow. So those are busy times then.
they are busy
There we
times. Yeah,
go. This is the one. Great.
yeah.
So it is noon right now. I do see that we have two people who have joined us. This is fantastic. It's really exciting. A little bit about Zaheen, folks, is that my cousin, Hanif Molji, was the one who told me about you. This is a few years back. And he said, oh, my cousin's wife, she's amazing. She talks about these things that you are really talking about, and you should really connect with her. And everybody knows how gaga I am about Facebook. Sorry, about LinkedIn, my bad. And I actually connected with you on Facebook, and you agreed, to connect with me. And I think in my message to you at that time, I said, "Hi, my name is Alnur. My cousin Hanif talk to me about you, and I would love to hear more about you." And we connected. And then after that, we connected on LinkedIn. Shortly after, we started having a conversation, and I said, I'm from Mombasa as well. So we are from the same town in Kenya. And when I started talking to you, I found out that you were actually living in the flat that was below my aunt, my dad's older sister. And it was just amazing that this is such a small world that, here we are, we've moved continents, we are in different countries, and we've come to the same province, and you're in Edmonton. Now, not only did we connect that way, but you were ever so kind to host me on your show. And this was a few years back, and that was such a great. And then last year, I had the immense pleasure of hearing you speak at it was the APECA conference. No,
No,
it was the Career
CPHR.
Development. Yes, CPHR conference. That's right. I was in Edmonton for that as well, but it's just fantastic that I was actually in the room in the front seats there and watching you deliver your brilliance. And here you are today when we're sharing that with our folks here on Facebook. So, please do tell me a little bit about yourself. I've just been babbling and just so excited that, yay, I have the amazing Zaheen.
Right. No, thank you, Alnur. Yes, it was nice that you connected, and like you said, it's such a small world, and it's nice to see that so many other people are sharing their gift, just like the way you are. And I do love to speak on the topic of resilience, and I know that you do on mental health, as well as coaching others to find the career that they love. Those are all the things that we do, and sometimes I find that we find ourselves asking, is this doing anything for anyone? And then when we get those little notes or little comments saying, no, keep on doing this, you are helping us, it just gives us the strength and the motivation to do more. So thank you for doing this today and for allowing me to share some strategies.
It's really my pleasure, and you've had quite the journey. And on the session when you were speaking about it, you actually shared your mom and dad's journey and what they were going through.
Mm.
And then I've read your info on not only on the different social media platforms about how you developed a stutter, and from there it got on to be quite impacting your physical way of doing this. Not only that, you have been so authentic and so vulnerable. And that is the big thing that I talk about, is that as leaders, so many people feel that they cannot be authentic and vulnerable, that we have to all live in the perfect, Instagram filters life, and that, nothing is going on. And meanwhile, the biggest message that I tell people, and what I'd heard at the Hope conference, is we're all walking each other home. And as much as we say, oh, our lives are perfect, that we don't have anything that's going on, there's always that something going on. And that's where I really applaud you for bringing voice to things that are going on. And it is embrace and, stepping out in the wilderness, being courageous, because that's how we're going to rise, is that we're going to show that we all have things that are going on in our lives. So, I could share your story, but who better to share the story than you?
Right. So you are right. You know what? It's always scary to show the part of you that you want to hide. And that started for me at a young age when I stuttered. I didn't want people to know that I stuttered, so I would never speak out in groups. I would never talk to a group of more than two or three people, and I would only talk to
Mhm.
people that I know. I would never be the one in class who would raise her hand and answer the question or read aloud, nothing like that. And now look at me. Now I'm talking. But it was a journey. It wasn't easy. Uh,
Yes.
but everyone goes through the darkest moments. And that is the time that I find to be able to rise above it is to not only tap into your support system, but also to make sure that you're sharing that with others, because it's helping me and it's also helping other people, and you never know how. I know every
Yes.
time I speak to a group of people about my journey, whether it was the stutter, whether it was going through cancer at the age of 40, uh, or even going through some things right now during the pandemic, it's tough for so many people.
It is very.
But as I
Yes.
share the things that are going through with me, I think it lets other people open up as well, and we need to hear
Mhm.
more stories so people know that we're not alone. That everyone goes through this. I'm not a superhero, right?
You are actually. You really are. And the thing is that what you've shared is so impactful up to now. You even talked about how people come, and sometimes we don't have the courage to be able to post online that, this is great. I really appreciate what you're sharing and all of this. Where I'm going with this is that I sometimes am walking on the streets. Actually, it was the partnership walk last year here in Calgary. I love being up front and center, and our mayor is on our Mayor Zaheen Nanji was walking. I was walking together with him and Arv Shivji, his good friend. His mom was on the other side, and there was a lady who ran up, and I thought she was going to run up to his worship, Mayor Nancy. And she actually ran up to me, and I was like, what? And she's going, hi, I actually watch your IG stories. And I'm like, I have no idea who this is. I don't have an Instagram account, but it's my husband's. And thank you so much for doing that. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. So yes, it is making an impact. And when I share those, it's about telling people that yes, this we're normalizing this. I also normalized, and you talked about this, is seeking support.
Mm.
And that is just beautiful that you're doing this. You're being so authentic and you're sharing that, you know what, I too have these things that are going on, and there's nothing wrong in asking for help. So where I would love you to go for just a brief moment is, I think that impactful piece was where you were going and talking about your hair losing, or even I still recall this, is at one point you had said, oh my gosh, I have a health center where we have all these health supplements. We are doing so much. And I eat kale for crying out loud. And why is this? So yes, we go through that grief. We go through that, all of that. And that is so true. Why are we hiding anger? And so, with these cycles, we all go through these cycles, and saying yes, that is part of the process. So, please do share a couple moments about that, because I think our viewers, and I do see that we have quite a few who are on. If you can even write in the comments, I would love to share those, so that people can see what everybody is talking about too here. So, Zaheen, please.
Yeah. So when you say about the time where I found out that I had cancer, and I find that I'm very aware of my thoughts when I know that I'm thinking negative or I'm thinking like a victim. And when I become aware of that, the first thing that we want to do is change those thoughts, change those words. And so it's nice to come across and be able to do that. And the piece about the hair falling out, I mean, who wants to hear who I don't want to share that, but I had to share that to make other people understand that, you know what, I was going through my darkest moments at that point, and I needed to know how to deal with it. And it may be something else for someone else. Their hair may not be falling out, but maybe someone has passed away. Maybe a relationship is broken and they're in their darkest moment. And to just become aware that they are there is normal. So it's very normal to be in a victim mindset. So I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. No. You can be in a victim mindset. What I'm saying is that you need to snap out of it instead of staying in there forever. You need to move out of
Mhm.
that. And that's what I like to teach people, is that I've been there. These are my stories, and this is what I learned from it, and this is what I want to share with you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Is that snapping out piece? And I'll be very honest. I've suffered quite a lot of PTSD in my childhood, and it's carried on. Trauma has carried on into my adulthood, and I used to swallow my tears. And because of the male toxicity, we are all raised in certain ways. Like, we know what our cultural fabric stories are, where we do not share what's going on. So we have quite a few people who love you over here. Sharmila Mulji, Hani's wife, is on, and she's saying hi over here.
Hi, Sharmila.
Sorry, I digress. Salima Mulji is also online, and Alur Rajan from Tudor, Mombasa, is so happy that he's watching as well. So we have quite a few people over here who are giving shout outs. So thank you so much. So sorry, I digressed there for a moment. But what I want to talk about here is that in working on my traumas or my things that have been going on, and with COVID-19 happening, I reverted back. And there were times when I was feeling that I could not get out of this. And you talk about snapping out of this.
Mhm.
So, can you please just share a couple tools of what you've done to be able to snap out of it?
That's a good question. Yes. So many people right now are going through things in their life. So one thing that I find a lot of people saying is that I'm worried. What if I get sick, or I'm getting anxious about just being at home? uh, some of the things that I want you to understand is that those are normal thoughts. There's nothing wrong with you. Okay. Everyone is thinking the same thing. What if I get sick? What if, right? So I want you to pay attention to your thoughts and the words. Instead of saying, what if I get sick? You know, move that around or turn that around and say, I am going to be healthy because I am practicing the guidelines that are put out there by public health. So, for example, I am going to social distance, I am going to wash my hands before I eat. I am going to make sure that I use hand hygiene more than I did before. Now, those are all positive things, right? And when I say those things, what kinds of images come up for you? You imagine
Ah,
yourself washing your hands. You imagine yourself making sure that you're protecting yourself. But when you say things like, oh, what if I get sick? What images come up for you then? Right? That you are feeling
awesome.
sick. Yeah. So that's the
Awesome.
one tip that I do is I watch my language and then I turn it to positive and I go, okay, what do I want? This is what I want.
That's fantastic because it's all about that visualization. Some people call it manifestation. Some call it you can create those vision boards because the what you focus on grows, and you focus on the positive piece, and you focus on the positive mindset that this is how I'm going to be looking at this forward. That is how you will get into that space. And just today, I had a call with a dear, dear friend of mine. She was a colleague in the past, and she had just returned. And she said she was not feeling well, but I did put the two and two together. She actually had COVID along with her husband, and what she did was she talked about we have so many tools and resources, and she's very much into the spirituality and all of that. So she really went and thought about using things such as castor oil, and she talked about using things about how she could make herself feel better by doing that self-care piece. So thank you so much for sharing that, because those are things that really will work. So we have even more people that have joined this. This is fantastic, and they are writing these things down. So I had put some questions that I wanted to share wanted to ask you. Is that there's so much that's out there in the media. There is so much that's not only in the media but also on social media, and there is fake news. Now we know some news channels that are not as great, and I'm not going to name those because you know what, I don't want any hate mail, or I'm not going to share who those people are that are on Facebook. Oh, it's the doomsday. Come on, go hide under the bed. Everything is going down. But it can really impact us. And all of these stats that are showing that, you know what, it is great. And, when everybody was running you could really see that people were focusing a lot on the toilet paper, for crying out loud. What it did to me was it made those negative scripting or negative thoughts really multiply. What is one or two things that you can talk about right now that we can implement right away
Yeah,
to
that's a
make a
great question.
difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's toilet paper is the next gold. um, but do you know why people were hoarding toilet paper? because they
Tell
knew
me.
that they would have to stay at home, and so they're not using their toilets at work, so they need toilet paper at home. So there you go.
Okay.
um, but you know what? We do get more anxious when we listen to those doomsday kind of, so many deaths and so many people got sick, and it does affect us. And what you see affects your emotions, right? So of course what you want to do is, how do you get happy emotions? You get happy emotions when you're seeing something happy that makes you
Mm.
smile. That So those are the kinds of things you have to think about the opposite, right? So watch YouTube videos that are funny. Watch memes. If you have an Instagram account, there's so many memes out there that are making fun of the year 2020, and they just make you laugh. Watch stand-up comedy on Netflix, because it just makes you laugh. And what we are doing in our family, because we have extended family, and we were so used to getting to see each other on special days like birthdays, or if someone turns, like 50, or an anniversary, and we miss that. So now we do that on Zoom, and we get together. It's so nice to hear what everyone is doing, but indirectly, what you're doing at that moment is you're also tapping into your support system again, right?
Love
And
that.
even though they are family, you don't realize that by just connecting with your friends and family, or looking at something that makes you happy or makes you laugh, it releases those endorphins. And that's what we need at this time, rather than looking at things that will make you grim and depressed.
I love that. I love that. My younger son is quite a character. He loves drama. Must be the wife's genes. He loves the limelight. Must be the wife's genes. He loves to talk. Must be the wife's genes. She's not here, so you know what. Um, you get where I'm going with that. The thing about that is that I was on a Facebook Live, and this was one of the first ones that I was going on, and he decided to come down, and I had kind of bribed him with a chocolate croissant that I put in the toaster oven, and the aromas and everything, and he would stay up there. But no, he decided to actually come down carrying the warm croissant to have it over here. And I said, no, sweetie, it's okay. I'm fine. And he decides to even hug at this time. And I have to actually beg for hugs. So he was doing all of these things. And at that moment, I was getting quite, my thinking was like, oh my gosh, I'm here on Facebook Live, and what is all that? But he was teaching me actually resilience, this young teacher, but I was not thinking about that at a particular time. And after a while, everybody was commenting on these things, and they were like, hey, that's funny. And I'm like, oh my gosh, here is the future teacher, and he's talking to me. What you shared right now is about that humor and that fun. And the big thing about these sessions that I deliver around cognitive behavior therapy and things that can make you happy right away is they talk about putting on these wow glasses or these kid glasses. And what does that do? Is looking at the world in their eyes. He had a little bubble wand thing, and he was blowing bubbles, having fun. Kids, they are so resilient, and we can learn so much from them. But
That's right.
yet, my mind was focused on work. And my good friend Robert, I'm going to be calling him on one of these things. He has this have fun at work, and what he does is, this is the beauty of this. So Ulmer has got a great big comment over here. And yes, it's almost overnight, everything changed, our priorities, our daily routines. And where I'm going with this is when we bring in fun and when we create that laughter, it's helping us during these times. And Ulner, you are so right. Yes, there are more Ulners in the world, folks. And yes, I know when I came up with the I am Ulner, there are some other people that says, I'm going to use that. I said, sure, why not? Because their name is Ulner. And so what he's written here is life as we knew changed, but being resilient human beings that we adapt to change accordingly. We may feel separated physically, but we are together in spirit and thought. And that's so true, is what you shared, is connecting with people over Zoom and Skype. And I had a wonderful time chatting with my niece who had the holiday, the Chinese New Year celebrations, and so she had booked and she left, and then she came back, but she had to extend it. And when she came back to Shanghai, she had self quarantined. She didn't have anything, but I was able to connect with her and really find out what was going on. And she was going through lots of different things that were going on for her, where her place was not available for her. So, yes, we all are going through these wherever we are, but we are connected with the different things that are going on in our lives. And that too is showing that how, when we share these stories, we are learning how we can be together and we can learn of all of these things, right? And one of my final questions to you is that yes, you see the good stuff, but it's that unkind things that are permeating our brains and in the world. And you already shared about the hoarding and all of that, and the media comments. What is one thing that I can do besides this? Is just that how can I do my part
Mhm.
that I know in keeping the humanity and sane, because that is where we're going to be able to, as Alder says, it's
Yeah,
not, in the end, it's not our challenges that define us, because it's he's right on this, right? And thank
right,
you so much for that.
right.
So please give
Yeah.
Zane some love over here, tap the hearts, and please do talk about how we
Thank you.
can do that.
Yeah, so yes, there are so many reports of some people just being unkind and mean, and but you have to understand their point of view as well, and you have to understand that their intent is not to be mean. It's just that they're frustrated and they don't know how to deal with it. So I think once you understand that, then you can do your part, and your part is to take your focus away from what other people are doing. Do what you can control. So for example, give some things to the food bank. They need your help. Go and give blood. They need blood. Go and help your neighbor, with something that they need. Text someone and ask how they're doing. Just those simple things that you can do, that that is giving you satisfaction and giving the other person the time, is also giving them satisfaction, that look, so and so actually thought of me. I didn't even think that they would think of me. uh, but those are the kinds of things that we can do in order to let people know that humanity is still there to connect even though we're distance, right?
Brilliant. And, folks, Zane doesn't just talk the talk, she walks the walk. Because this past Sunday, she actually sent me a text. Hey, I'm just thinking about you. And texting, please. I love to hear the voice. So guess what I did? I said, Zane, I called her, and she goes, Yari Alnur, this is the greeting that and I said, look, I'm just going to take a couple minutes of your time, but come on, me, couple minutes? Oh, okay, folks, it's not the wife, it's yes, this person who loves to talk, and we had a great conversation, and I asked you if you could be on this live session. So we are nearing 12:30 right now. I want to be very mindful of the time that you've spent coming on over here and taking the time away from your work. I'm just going to go and see if there's any questions from our group that is watching. We have 8 people on a line who are watching right now. And if there are any questions, if we could share. Before I forget, Zaheen, can you please share your book? Where we can find that book?
Yeah.
Because she's won awards for this book. She's delivered sessions all over the world, and she's an international speaker, and she has great, resources for us that can help us during this time.
For sure, yeah. So my book is called The Resilience Reflex, and you can get it on Amazon, as well as from me if you'd like a hard copy. And you can just go on my website. I'm also on LinkedIn and Facebook. You can find me there. If you want to know my 3R formula, you can also go on my website, zaheennanji.com/free course. You will get a free course that actually shows you how to go through my 3R formula on how to make resilience your first reflex in times like this.
Brilliant, bravo. And that's the humanic piece, is that, you don't have to really go big in reaching out and helping people. If you do and have anything that you can share, you can share it. As I said, text somebody and reach out, and really that really helped me so much because I was going through a little bit of a hard time that day. So it was wonderful that you reached out, and it felt so grateful for you for doing that. Zaheen is available for even coaching as well. She does these sessions online. Oh, my dear friend, Sandra is online. She goes by Alexandra. I call her my Tao sister. We used to work at Talos many moons ago. I was just 5 years old, and she was a year old at that time because she still looks fabulous. But during those times, Alexandria used to share the Tao moments, which were really deep reflections, and it really helped me along in those times. So all over the world, there are these heroes. And Zaheen said in the beginning of this call that she's not a hero. She's a hero that doesn't need a cape because she is making lives, impacting so many lives. And Alexandria had impacted my life so much back then, and she continues to be a source for positivity in my life. So everyone, thank you so much. I'm just going to give another minute here if anybody has a question, if you're okay with staying on just for one more minute. And my deepest gratitude for letting me have these chai conversation. I always have to have garam chai is what my nanima used to say. Nanima means maternal grandmother, so it's an ode to her. So here's to you and all of you for staying and watching. I have one more thing here that, your 2 kind blessings. Great. So without a further ado, I will be posting this on YouTube. Zaheen is on YouTube as well, so please do subscribe to our YouTube channels. And this has been fantastic. I'll even share this on LinkedIn. Thank you, everybody. Blessings, and it's been wonderful. My deep gratitude. Zaheen, you're brilliant.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Elder.
You're welcome. All right, take care. Over and out, and stay safe. Clean hands, clear minds, and open hearts is how we're going to be going through this, okay? Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.